You know, life is like an onion. You peel one layer off at a time, and sometimes it makes you weep. Welcome back to the Rock and Sea Homestead. My name is Lance. I want to welcome you to our channel. And of course, we're happy about this onion harvest. And I guess later on it may make us weep when we cut them, but for now, we're pretty dang happy. They're not the hugest, biggest onions I've ever seen, but for our first time, it feels awesome. All right, so we harvested these onions just a couple days ago, but it's really time to get them to the next stage of curing and get them processed. But before we do that, let's show you guys how we got to this point. So about a week before we harvested the onions, we pulled them down, pushed them down, and that put all the energy into the bulbs. And then when we're ready to pull them up, we pulled them up very similar to we did the garlic. We got up underneath the bulbs so we wouldn't hurt the onion stalks and the bulbs themselves, and they come up nice and easy. All right, so now you know how we got here. Let's see where we go from here. So since these onions are fairly clean, pretty much all that we want to do is just kind of clean up as much dirt, but not get too hardcore. You don't want to water it. You don't want to wash it off. You want to kind of keep it dry as much as possible. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off some of this extra long stems or whatever, the leaves on it. And then I'm going to put this on our drying rack and let it dry out a little bit. Now, you can use these leaves. You can chop them up, store them. We've got a lot of suggestions of chopping these up, storing them in the freezer, and using them in soups or some other things in the wintertime. So we may do that. We also have some chives that we're dealing with on that as well. So we'll see what they look like after we get done. All right, so we've got all of them cut and ready to get dried. Now some of them are already kind of getting to the point where they just need to be used. So we're gonna wash these up and actually chop them up and use them for dinner. But we do have a whole bunch over here that are gonna be dried and cured. So we have our little drying rack. We just set it up in here so it's a little easier for you guys to see. We're gonna store this in a back bedroom. But it's a little hard to get in there with the camera and everything else. So we're just going to put it on here. We'll just do it just like this. And you just want to make sure there's enough room so air ventilation gets around them and they start to dry out. And I think you guys get the point of what this is going to look like. About knocked them all over. So that's essentially what it's going to look like. And then we'll probably leave them in there for about a week or two until they get a little drier. And then more than likely what these are going to go to is probably some canning projects, or we're just going to chop them up and freeze them. One thing that I've heard and have read about here and where we live here in Oklahoma, there's not a very good way to dry store these for a long time. So what I've heard is the best way is just chop them up, stick them in the freezer, and then you can pull them out when you're ready and use them in that aspect. So this is what we're going to do, and we're going to go put it back in the room and then come back in a couple weeks and these will be all ready. Well folks, hopefully you learned how to get your onions ready to dry and cure and get ready for that long-term storage. Here at the Rock and Sea Homestead, we're very pleased that you came back and watched our video. Hey, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. There'll be a link down in the corner. Click that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't caught us on Facebook or Instagram, those links are down in the description. But from our homestead to yours, have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.